Welcome into another episode of Down South Ball Talk, hosted by LT. I'm your host, LT, and on today's episode, we're going to be ranking the starting running backs of the AFC South. We're also going to be talking about the San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma City Thunder Western Conference Final Series. They're tied up 2-2 back in Oklahoma City tonight. We're going to talk about that, but first and foremost, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Please help us grow. I want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who has watched, who has commented on the videos. I appreciate it so much. Also, please follow all of my social medias. You see them down here. They're right here. All are at Down South Ball Talk, except on X. It is at Down South BT. All right, let's get into it, man. Today we're doing another rankings video. We're ranking the starting running backs in the AFC South, and we're going to start with my who I think is the fourth best starting running back in the AFC South coming into the NFL season. Let's go with 4. Jacksonville Jaguars running back, new running back. They signed him in the offseason to a 2-year deal, Chris Rodriguez Jr. They have, not they, myself as well. He is projected to be the starting running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost Travis Etienne Jr., which is a 1,000-yard rusher. They will miss him, I think so, really badly. However, Chris Rodriguez Jr., he comes over from the Commanders. He had, 500 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns last season as not being the man. So this will be his first time being a starting number 1 running back in the league. Last year, let's see, he posted a 78.4 Pro Football Focus grade, and he was ranked 20th overall last season at the end of the NFL season. So I think that he could do it. I mean, he had 500 yards last year. This offensive line is a little suspect. Do I think he's going to be a 1K rusher? No, I do not. Do I think Tootin comes in and maybe becomes a starter at the end of the season, or maybe around like week 6, 7, 8, something like that? Maybe. Now, Tootin, he was behind Travis Etienne, so he didn't really get to show everything. I like Tootin. I think he's a decent back. However, I think they're going to give Chris Rodriguez Jr. every ample opportunity to be the starting running back since they signed him to a 2-year deal. However, can Tootin do it? We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. All right, let's go. Let's move on to the third best running back in the AFC South. I think it is the Tennessee Titans running back Tony Pollard. Last season, he was a 1,000-yard rusher with 5 rushing touchdowns. Second consecutive season with the Titans being a 1,000-yard rusher. A little nugget here. There's only been 2 running backs to have 4 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons in the NFL, and that has been Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a solid running back for the Tennessee Titans. I believe he would have more yards if the Titans had a better offensive line. I think the offensive line is a little bit better this year for the Titans, and we'll talk about offensive lines in the AFC South in another video as well. But I also think Tony Pollard will get 1,000 yards this year. He is a bell cow back. Despite having not a great offensive line, he's still doing what he's doing. Again, second consecutive year with the Tennessee Titans with 1,000 yards. Now, do I think he could do it for a third consecutive season with the Titans? Yes, I do think so. There's really no competition in the running back room to really push him to be, get on the sidelines or anything like that to get benched. So I believe Tony Pollard will get another 1,000-yard seasons, barring injury and things of that nature. I do like the Titans running back room now. They have Tajay Spears still there. They drafted the kid out of Penn State who everybody likes. However, Tony Pollard is the clear-cut number 1 back at the Tennessee Titans. All right, before I move on, I want to say again, thank you for all your support to the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow. All right, coming in number 2, I will say the second best running back in the AFC South to me is the Texans' new running back, David Montgomery. He comes over via trade from the Detroit Lions. He had 716 rushing yards with 8 rushing touchdowns last season, and that was with splitting time with Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people thought last season he lost a lot of carries to Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jahmyr was a clear-cut number 1, and David Montgomery was kind of like a 1B / 2 type of running back. However, this season with the Houston Texans, he is the clear-cut number one guy. He does not have any competition. They do not have Nick Chubb anymore. They do not have Joe Mixon, which I don't know what happened with him with his injuries and things of that nature. But again, that's another story for another video. However, David Montgomery will be the clear-cut number one guy down in Houston. He's very good in red zone scoring. Again, hence he had 8 rushing touchdowns last year. I believe a lot of them were in the red zone as well. He can do it. I believe he can be a 1,000-yard running back with the Texans. Their offensive line is a little However, I believe just like Tony Pollard, he is a good enough back to get over that 1,000-yard hump even with a just pretty decent offensive line. All right, here we go. The number one ranked running back in the AFC South, I believe, is the Colts running back, Jonathan Taylor. What else can you say? If not, I think he's a top 3, maybe even top 5, top 3 back in the league. Last season, over 1,500 rushing yards, 18 touchdowns. He ranked 3rd in the NFL in rushing yards. What else can you say about this man? I could keep going. 20 total touchdowns, over 1,900 total yards, 3rd career Pro Bowl. He earned his 2nd career All-Pro. He got his first one in his 2nd season in 2021. I believe these last couple seasons he's been hurt, but this last season, it's 2025, 2026 season, he showed who he is when healthy, and that is a top 5, if not top 3 running back in the NFL. Some thought he might be injury prone, which I could see that. I mean, for 2 years, he was, not having really good seasons. I mean, 22 and 23 were not the best of seasons for him. However, he did bounce back in 24, and in, 25 and 26 season, you see what he has done with the 1,500 yards. He is a cowbell back, 3-down back. He is a monster. I had him in fantasy, so I know a lot of fantasy players were loving him last season. Can he duplicate what he did last season? I think so. They do have a pretty decent offensive line. They have a future Hall of Fame left guard in Quentin Nelson that he is a veteran that rallies the troops and gets that line together. Again, we will talk offensive lines in the AFC South in another video soon. However, I think Jonathan Taylor can duplicate a 1,000-yard season. 1,500, I don't know. I don't know, maybe, because again, I think they rely heavy on the run this year, again, with Jonathan Taylor. Is he a top 5 running back in the league? Yes. There's not even up for debate. As I keep saying, he's regularly top 3. There's not even many that you would take over him. So, yes, he is a top 5 running back in the league. All right, let's go over it again. My top 4 starting running backs in the AFC South for the AFC South teams. Coming in at number 4 is Chris Rodriguez Jr. for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming in at number 3, Tony Pollard for the Tennessee Titans. Coming in at number 2, David Montgomery for the Houston Texans. And the number 1 running back in the AFC South to me is Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. All righty, let's get into it, man. Some Spurs talk, some basketball talk, some association talk. The Spurs, they go against the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. The Thunder are a 3.5-point favorite. The series is tied 2-2. Last game was a really wasn't even close. The Spurs did their thing, again, despite some of their key players not playing too well. Again, Champagnie went 0 for 5 from 3. You can't have that. Dylan Harper did not play his best. So did Stephon Castle did not play his best. However, I think tonight they get a win in Oklahoma City. And a lot of people say that, whoever wins Game 5 is going to win the series. I think that they win this one. Then maybe Oklahoma City wins Game 6 and flip-flops in San Antonio because they know they got to have it. And I believe they go back to Game 7 in Oklahoma City and the Spurs pull it out in a nail-biter. Again, I have the Spurs in 7 going on to the finals. But, again, they have to have the role players step up, and we all know the bench players play better at home no matter the team. So Oklahoma City's bench players will probably play a lot better tonight. So, yes, that concludes this episode of Down South Ball Talk, hosted by LT. Again, let me know in the comments, do you agree with my rankings of the running backs in AFC South? Who do you have? Who do you think is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4? Let me know in the comments if you think my rankings are sufficient to you. Also, let me know if you think the Thunder or the Spurs are going to win this series and move on to the finals. Let me know in the comments. And again, please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Also, please follow all the social medias. You see them here at Down South Ball Talk on all social medias except on X. It is at Down South BT. Again, I'm your host LT. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a good evening.